David Wallach. I reside at 900 Ocean Drive. I own Mango's Tropical Cafe and the Eastern Sun Shops. For 20 or so years, I've lived at 900 Ocean Drive, approximately 50 feet from the subject site. I've seen that spot probably more than any staff member or any member of the boards present. The only appropriate comment of staff that I read in the report was that the garage door should be neutral, of simple design, and painted the same color as the building. This comment is proper logic, relevant, as well as sensitive to the nature of the building. To say the project would have a negative impact on the pedestrian experience between Ocean and Collins is ridiculous. Maybe 1 out of 1 million people care 1 iota about the alley portion of our streets, other than professional photographers doing a study of the alleys. Only a person who works for the gas company, or the staff it seems, would not deem the removal of the meters along with the replacement of a garage door to be an aesthetic improvement of the site, much more pleasing to the pedestrian experience. This entire community has a compelling public interest in seeking out every single possible off-street parking situation and build it. Virtually no one would be impacted negatively by having the garage. The true reality is that every single day of the year, someone, a resident, a tourist, or a visitor from a neighboring community is negatively impacted by Mr. Novick not having the garage. Mr. Novick is freeing up a parking space on the street. If that means nothing to the board, then not many arguments will. The compelling public interest demands Mr. Novick to create the space. It is again an inaccurate statement by staff to say this project will adversely impact the economic viability of this property. As an owner and operator, I would most certainly expect to pay more for a property with a parking space rather than with none. Do you truly believe that Mr. Novick would be entitled to a tax reduction if the space went in? I don't think so. All of the electric meters, the staff had suggested that the garage be placed into the northeast corner of the property. Economic hardship would ensue. All of the electric meters and house equipment are on the northeast corner. It's a storage basement for the building. It is another asset of the building to have such a basement. If we were to talk about architecture and appropriateness, that basement is a significant feature to the functioning of the building.
Okay,
and should not
David,
be disturbed.
bring it to a close, please.
Mr. Novick should receive a commendation, and I believe that this board, as well as the Design and Historic Preservation Board for our community, should encourage other people to do the same.
Okay, thank you. Other public comment?
My name is Don Worth. I'm a resident of 1390 Ocean Drive. I've known the applicant for several months, and he asked me to take a look at his proposed garage door opening, and if I felt so inclined to speak in favor of it. I read the city staff report. I walked 4 blocks of the alley, making particular note of what happens at the corners, and I looked at the current building and the proposed changes. And I guess just from the point of view from a resident who preservation is important to me, the proposed changes just wouldn't bother me. I think it would probably somewhat enhance the area as it is. The gas pipes are awfully ugly. They probably weren't there when the building was around. And as I try to imagine the garage door being opened, and I think that back alley hasn't seen a whole lot of MDPL tours, I think it would be fine. It pains me to disagree with staff. I think they do a great job. They work really, really hard. I'll probably be up here in the future speaking in favor of the positions that they take that I think speak to my interest. But you folks have a tough job to do. You have to balance preserving wonderful buildings with the needs of the people who live there now. And you got to make a lot of judgment calls. And I think in this particular case, just from my point of view, I think it's fine to allow the garage door and maybe work with staff and the applicant to design it as best you can.
Okay, thank you. Other public comment?
What was that gentleman's name?
Don Worth.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Mitchell Corris. I own a unit in this building, the Sherbrooke Co-op. Having been there for about 6-7 years now and been on the board, and having this come before and discussed at those board meetings and having unanimous approval of a garage for the back. I think that we should encourage to have this project completed. It certainly enhances the building. It will make it look better. Mitch has done quite a bit in terms of bringing this building back and restoring its original integrity. And clearly, it's needed for his personal use, as I've had my car pretty much destroyed in front of this building before as well. And I'm in favor of it.
Okay, thank you, Mitchell. Other comment from the public? Boy, rally the troops, huh?
Bill Brizak. I happen to be living in the building. I'm also an architect. Mitch mentioned the project to me for the garage at the back of the building, and I'd like to speak in support of it. Even before living there, I always noticed the Sherbrooke as an elegant building on Collins Avenue, which stands out. As a tenant, I appreciate the simplicity of the interiors of the whole building, as well as the apartment, which has kept much of its original character. I've seen the plans for the proposed garage, and I believe this is a sensible project which will help Mr. Novick in maintaining the building, as he also lives on the premises and he needs a loading area. As an architect, I find the design of the back facade very simple. It respects the alignments to the existing windows and eliminates existing air conditioning units. The relocation of the gaswork will also be a good improvement to the back alley. But above all, I believe that the quality of the work that Mr. Novick has already performed on the building can attest to his will to preserve the high quality of it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, other comment?
Randall Robinson, Miami Design Preservation League. Since the applicant is a board member and in order to avoid a possible conflict of interest, MDPL is not going to comment on this.
Rather than commenting on this specific application, could you comment on whether in general you find it appropriate to put garage entrances at corners of buildings?
You're not going to get me.
That's not fair. Nice try.
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate on the part
Nice
of the league.
try.
I would have expected a position to be assumed here. Staff certainly did so.
Okay,
And I'm also ex officio director on the MDPL board.
okay.
My name is Edgar Gonzalez. I'm an architect. I also live at the Sherbrooke.
You have to be an architect to get into this building?
That's one of the requirements. One of the things that I'm very much in support of this project, and particularly that the creating of this parking space dash loading will eliminate the loading materials having to pass through the front lobby, which faces Collins Avenue.
Okay, thank you.
I think we need
Any final comment from the public? All right, if not, one more. Last but not least.
My name is Sandra Lamb, and I'm not an architect, but I am an artist. I have a studio on Lincoln Road. I have been a tenant of Mr. Novick's for 3.5 years at his 610 Jefferson Avenue property, which is a beautiful building designed by Henry Hohauser. And I have to say that he has been renovating that building since I've been a tenant there, and he has expressed incredible integrity in preserving the design of that building. But more so, what I want to express is that he is not a greedy or self-centered landlord, and I think that is unique in this area, and so that's one reason to consider his application. Thank you.
No offense to the chairman and the other landlords on the board.
Then I guess I'll have a very small car.
Any other comment? If not, we'll open it up to board comment.